Great day. Happy Sunday. Welcome to this strong session of Soulful Sunday. Our topic today is dealing with the five agreements. And before we get off into the topic, we're going to go through our ritualistic openings where we'll have Master Shep do libations for us on this day. So at this time, Master Shep, I'm going to give you the space for that.
All right, as we share this to our grouping signal, we may have to get a longer countdown. Just play evidently 30 seconds. It's not long enough to take care of this behind the scenes stuff. So moving forward, we're gonna have a longer countdown. So once the countdown is done, we would have sent out all of the links that should have been sent out as we go into live. Right, and with that being said, links are sent. Now let's get it in with the let's open this thing up. On this portal, the portal is already open. But with this drama, we just open it on up even. Wow. Feel the vibration. Be immersed in the 5D vibration, the 5D voice. 5D portal is open. Feel the vibe. Or maybe they just ain't warmed up yet. Sometimes, this animal skin is live. It take a minute to get warm up. So that would be a part of the process also. Hit it in the drum. Drum and get it hot. It's talking back. Feedback is reverberating. Reverberating? Reverberating? Reverberation. What is it? College words, the big words out there. Good thanks. Yeah. Reverberation. Good thanks, partner, All right, all right. And one of these other ones again. We take this time Simply give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks always and in all ways, specifically for this present moment. And in this present moment, we give thanks to all forms of our highest self experience. Source energy, mother, the multitude that reaches the ethos, and the master angels, archangels, deities, spirit guides, and benevolence. That we consciously, intentionally give thanks to our benevolent ancestors. We also acknowledge them with the form of the libation, symbolizes connecting the spirit world to the material world, the spirit world to the physical world. You know, we pour the water, whether in the spirit to the earth. We feel free to call the names of your ancestors, those that are related by blood and those who are related by portal, by vibration. We do this at this time. Before the result, we give thanks for your assistance. You still guide and walk with us on this physical journey, guiding us from the other side. We give thanks for your presence. We call it your name. Ache. 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 Laura Hall. Rosa Tucker. Mal Tucker. Mary White. Prophet Noble Drew ID. Malcolm X. Margaret Garvey. For Jordan Truth. Nat Turner. Harriet Tubman. And all those names and unnamed, we give thanks for your presence, your assistance. I tell you, yo. All right, so we seal this experience with 3 invocations. 3 deep breaths into the nose and out the mouth. We begin by releasing all the air of our lungs to set the stage. Take a deep breath into the nose. Releasing out the mouth. Deep breath into the nose. Releasing out of the mouth. Deep breath into the nose. Slowly and gently releasing out through the mouth. Relaxing while releasing. Simple as breathing. Bring ourselves into ourselves. Center into the now. Ache. Ache. Yo.
So as I mentioned earlier, the conversations that we are talking about over the next 2 weeks is the 5 agreements. And the 5 agreements are: 1, be impeccable with your words. 2, don't take anything personal. 3, don't make assumptions. 4, always do your best. And 5, be skeptical, but learn to listen. And Les Strong, Master Chef, took on the charge of talking about be impeccable with your words. And just a brief catch up to that, when we are impeccable with our words, that means that we are intentional in designing what we say, because what we say has the aspect of those words. We create with the vibration of our words. So we say, oh, this is a terrible day. It shall be a terrible day. Even if things don't look like they're lining up the way we want, if you say, I'm going to have a good day, you will have a good day because you set the vibration for that good day. If you say things always go wrong, things will always go wrong because you set the vibration for that. He don't like me. That person may not have any type of feeling towards you whatsoever, but you said he don't like me, which will then send that energy to that person that whenever they experience you, they experience some discomfort, something that they don't find pleasant because you sent that energy out there. You created that. So be impeccable with your words. The thing we're talking about today is don't take anything personal. And what I realize is that everyone has their own agenda. Their agenda be good, bad, or indifferent. Everyone has their own agenda. their agenda might not align to your agenda. And so, what you are expecting, what you are looking for, what you are hoping might not come from the other person because they have their own agenda. But if you make it personal, you make a problem unto yourself, not even necessarily designed by the other person. So, if we have expectations of people, that means now we're trying to take our personal agenda and apply that to that other person. That doesn't always line up because what their agenda is might not be what your expectations of them are. And therein creates friction. Therein creates a problem because you thought this was going to happen or that was going to happen. And you didn't get those results you were looking for because you had your own agenda, which did not line up with someone else's agenda. Oftentimes we experience things from people where we'll go, oh, that person is nasty. They got a bad attitude. That person isn't very considerate. Their bad attitude to you might just be an off day for them, might just be their own personal issues that they're dealing with within themselves. And so you perceive it as, oh, they just have a bad attitude. They might be in pain. You smile and they didn't smile back. Now you've made it personal. Whenever I smile, they don't smile. They just grimace at me. Perhaps in the moment that you smile is the moment that they were experiencing some displeasure, which showed up differently on their face than your smile. So you got two problems here working. One, the expectation of this person is supposed to respond to me in a certain way, and that you don't know what's happening on the other person's behalf to have them show up in the way that they did. Don't make things personal. If you look at your agenda and you allow people to flow within their agenda, you're not caught up. You're not tripped in whatever space they're in. I had a friend for the longest would say to me that they are, when they experience me, it's like my energy is too much. The energy is too much. And I really, really felt sad, felt some kind of way because this is somebody close to me that when they experience me, I want them to experience me in a pleasant way. I want them to enjoy me. So when I would observe the person having fun and laughing and chi and enjoying other people, I would become sad in myself because we didn't have that type of connection. We didn't have that relationship. And it just took me in the last couple of weeks to realize and accept that person for where they are. Energetically, we don't match. Energetically, they really can't handle what I have. And they would say stuff like, oh, things like with your you happen, things levitate. It's like I've had experiences where supernatural things happen. And so with that, know that there's some energy that comes with that. And so when I began to really look at that and understand that, I'm going, well, I do have a high vibration and I do have supernatural and phenomenal things taking place and happening. I do have gifts that might not be easily acceptable to others. And so what I have to do is allow people to express and be themselves in whatever space that they're in. And if I'm flowing in my gift, then after a while, maybe they can elevate to the level of being able to accept my energy. Maybe it's not meant for them to accept my energy. But for me to not feel any kind of way about how that person responds to me has become my new lesson, my new acceptance. And so this was a big piece for me in today's lesson to be able to accept the fact that not everyone is going to be okay in my energy. Not everyone is going to be able to flow in my energy. And then if I allow people to be who they are, it's easier for me to navigate to those persons that really fit in the space and the energy that I'm in because they are in that space as well. And then I'm not holding it accountable, nobody accountable to my expectations. and be prepared for service. Do the sound bowls at the beginning and then be ready to teach, you know. And when things didn't flow as perfectly as instantly as I wanted them to, you know, my first reaction was, Then I went in the car and sat, took some breaths, you know, and said to myself, and today's lesson, today's lesson is don't take things personal, you know, so that I'm not looking at this situation like, why wasn't this ready for me? Why couldn't I get in? Why did I have problems? That wasn't the energy, you know, to have. The energy was anything could have taken place. There could be any number of circumstances of what's going on right now. This is a good opportunity for me to, in real time, practice what I'm teaching, practice what I'm talking about by allowing the situation to shift and change. And so, even when I came into the building, Master Chef had already come in, and he didn't call me and say, "Hey, the door's open." So I came in, and then I set a charge to him. Well, why didn't you tell me the door was open? His response, well, I figured you would look and see that it was open and come on in. And, you know, there was some other conversations around that. But even in that was the time for the lesson not to take it personal, you know. He did and started moving and doing what he needed to do. He knew I was coming. So he didn't make it a personal assignment for himself to call me and say, "Hey, the door's open, come on in." And so again, being in real time, shifting the energy to overstaying so easily how we have expectations of others. It may not take moments to think about it. And I'm just going to give you all an opportunity to share. Are there any situations where you could think of where you may make things personal that maybe before this moment you didn't think was something that you were making personal?
Do
You say you do it all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I do it. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I think that there's a pedigree
Uh-huh.
that I'm aligned with, and the way I experience, I would like to think that it's not personal because I like to think I check enough boxes in terms of what people qualify as human,
Mm-hmm.
but it'd be like, all right, you know, it's only because it is, it's not because it's me. But then there are things that sort of affirm that it's personal.
Oh,
I have a good friend. When I was in middle school, I ran for the Student Government Association
Okay.
president, right? And the young woman who was my opponent was a very smart black woman, big black girl, gregarious, over the top, always completely on the other side of the conversation. If it was a serious conversation, she was making a joke. If it was a light conversation, she was in a mood. Wonderful personality. I envied her because I didn't have that personality. And I won this election. She was the more down to earth person. She was the more approachable person. She was the person, you know. But I won. And years later, I remember she had on her Facebook post. I don't think we have Facebook friends anymore. She may not be active. I remember she middle of the day on a Wednesday, all caps. This shit is personal. And I was like, "You right. You right." So, you know, I've always, even as somebody who I was challenging politically or socially, really, that was middle school, I've always valued her counsel and her guidance and her perspective because I knew she had this quality of being down here when I sometimes couldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened. And I was writing in my journal, my most close mentor of all the mentors I had that are not my mother, not my grandmother, woman who was active in the civil rights movement. She's a Jewish woman, but she said to me on a call, and we've had many, maybe 100 in the last 15 years, she says, "Brandon, you know, yes, I will acknowledge that you suffered systemic oppression, but you have also experienced some personal discriminations." And when she said, I said, "Well, white woman, what did you say to me What do you know about, you're right, but what do you know about what I personally experienced? But Kiana Watson said this shit is personal. And Barbara Siegel said,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to speak to the aspect of don't take things personal, because like I was saying before, everyone has their own agenda. And although your effect may be this was a direct thing to me, you can't make it personal, even when people are sending energies directly to you or directly against you, because that's their agenda. You know, a chef and I have had a many conversations when he was like, there are people on assignment to do evil, just like there are people on assignment to do good. I just allow people to do what they do, allow them to be who they are. And if you take it from that aspect, it's not personal. They're just fulfilling their agenda. Their agenda might be to attack you, but it ain't personal. They're fulfilling their agenda. Now, how we perceive it, how we navigate it, how we maneuver the situation is what counts. Because if you get stuck in, say, you the black man that you are, if you get stuck, now you become a victim. You become unempowered. You become unmovable because the system is set up against the black man. The system is set up so the black man can't succeed. The system is set up to, even our schools dumb us down and all of this. It's like there's a lot of systematic things that we could run with and we can point out, and in a good argument, we could sustain that argument because of this point, because of that point, because of this point, because of that point. But at the end of the day, the system wants to survive. And so the system is doing what it needs to do to maintain what it wants to maintain. So it's not personal, even though it's a personal or direct attack. Does that make sense? It's a direct attack. There are some things at play. There are some things taking place, but it's because of whomever that's doing what they're doing. It's because of their agenda. What's their agenda? Their agenda is to maintain white supremacy. That's their agenda, And if that's the agenda, it really isn't personal. They didn't get up and say, on such and such a day, I am going to go find Brandon and I am going to go do X, Y, and Z to Brandon. However, they did get up and say, I am going to do what it takes to maintain where I am. And this is what it looks like. It looks like slavery. It looks like dumbing down the school system. It looks like poisoning people's food. It looks like making sure that they're have and have nots, and that person become the have and you become the have not. And so if your energies become overwhelmed by you making it personal, it makes it harder for you to navigate and get to where you want to be. You were beginning to share your make it personal story.
Yeah, I make traffic personal. I make traffic personal every day, even when I intentionally try not to make traffic personal. At work, I had somebody tell me that everybody is the main character in their own story. And I always realize I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be frustrated. Right. I am probably also someone else's villain on the road because I know how I drive. Right. So I take some things personal, but I'm able to remove myself most of the time by remaining grounded, and I'm not even trying to be upset. I'm just trying to be.
So what are some of the things that you do to help navigate that personal space to not make it personal?
I lean into the things that I know will bring me into a spirit of happiness, right? So in the car, I'm going to listen to really good music, right? Or I'm going to talk on the phone with somebody who's usually not dwelling, or not going through their own as a distraction, right? So that I'm less focused on why you breaking like this, and just take your foot off the gas, right? Trying to tell everybody else how to drive, right? I'm not in their car. They're gonna keep doing what they do.
That's good. That's good. I didn't even think about traffic being personal, because even today I'm on the horn because the light is green and it's been green for 5 seconds and nobody has even moved, and it's a long line of cars, and I'm like, who is up front not paying attention, because you holding up the whole line in 5 seconds. So in hearing you, I'm like, I can understand what that is. And didn't even think about, I'm making this personal. It's like they're not personally up there, not trying to keep me, making me late, get to where I'm going. It's whatever's going on in their car, in their mind. Maybe the car stalled. I don't know, Maybe they looked away and haven't looked up and saw that the light is green. Because there's sometimes when I am the culprit, when I am sitting at the light and I'm daydreaming and somebody will hit the horn. And usually when I am the culprit, my inside answer is, okay, touche. I usually say that to myself, touche, because any other time I am that one that's like, hey, let's go. So I understand where you are with that. You want to share how you make things personal?
I really don't, but I will say that I'm usually that person who is misunderstood.
Okay.
So I take that person.
Okay.
Because it's like I'm trying to explain my perspective and they just don't seem to get it. And I've even been told, well, you talking way over my head. And I'm like, okay, can you try to get with me, and then you was mentioning earlier, dumbing down what you was talking about, But for us personally, sometimes we dummy ourselves down just so people can hear what we're saying. And I feel like, especially if it's somebody I haven't known for years who should know me, I feel like, okay, it's time for you to elevate. Why I got to keep bringing my conversation down to try to understand you? So some things like that I take personally because it seems like they always want me to support or participate in their agenda, but when it comes to me, I'm the difficult one. She's a witch, she's difficult, she's the revolutionary Muslim. It's always something like that. But I'm learning balance. I guess the personal thing is, I think by now you should understand.
Right.
I feel like at some point you don't want to.
Right.
So that part I
Right. And that's a good way to really look at it and understand. Again, everyone has their own agenda, and their agenda might be to just be comfortable in this space. And they haven't yet figured out how to be comfortable in the space. And where you're making it personal with, well, I think by now you should be comfortable in this space, And I, like I said, just recently decided to hear what the person was sharing, and that energetically they can't get there, And so I'm going, but you should be there. But I then just decided to allow them to be where they are and be okay with where they are. And I was thinking, because this person gets real energetic and want to share their point all the time, and it's expected of me. I feel like you expect me to understand where you're coming from, and you expect me to move in all of your vibrations, and you expect me to show up for you. And all I'm asking you to do is be okay with me. But you can't be okay with me, but I have to bend and flex and twist and turn and do all of these things to be okay with you. And me allowing that person to not be energetically able to meet me where I am, it freed me up, because when they started sharing, and when I used to say you oversharing, and I only felt that way because when I shared, I felt like my share wasn't accepted. And so now I got to sit and listen to a whole 20 minutes of you share. But if I share for 2 minutes, it's too much. It's too much, And now I gotta hear 20 minutes of how it's too much that I was sharing. And so now for 20 minutes, you want me to accept You talking about me being too much, and I'm feeling like, well, dang, now you still sharing, and I'm still having to negate myself to let you share. So what I did over the last couple of days is just allow the person to share. I was quiet. But what I did differently too was listen to what they were saying. I didn't offer any answers. I didn't offer any solutions. I didn't even in my mind try to fix what was being said in my mind. What I said was, this is their share. This is their experience. This is what they truly feel. Now, how do I just allow them to be? I don't have an answer. And I wasn't moved. My energy, the energies for me became calm because they got off their chest what they needed to get off their chest. And what I understood was really just let them talk. And if I'm not passing judgment, if I'm not trying to fix it, if I don't have any other energies applied to it, it is what it is. They have shared. That was their agenda, to be heard. And when I realized that was just the agenda to be heard, I was like, okay, they've been heard. My agenda was to be at peace with the person. So in the end, both agendas really get met because they are heard and then they walking away happy, you know. And I'm not feeling any kind of way. I'm like, well, good. Let me move on to my next thing because this moment has passed, but it has taken years within a relationship that I thought should have been more harmonious to get to a harmonious spot because this person is pushing their agenda and I'm pushing my agenda. And at the end of the day, I'm like, it's really not that personal. And can we look at all of the situations and see things differently? Can we drive in a car and see things differently? Can we walk down the street and see things differently? Because we're not making anything personal. I'm gonna ask you the same question. How have you made things personal?
I have made things personal, but I feel like I'm on the opposite side of the issue where my whole life, like I've had issues with like expressing my anger and that like I didn't even think I was angry at all. So like I feel like for me, I've always felt like I didn't take things personal, but that was like bad because I also didn't know how to like self-preserve myself. So like I feel like I've taken a lot of like abuse and things happening to me because I was always like, I'm not taking this personal. Like I guess it's not really about me, but I don't know how to like protect myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I get too absorbed in other people's agendas sometimes. Because sometimes I feel like I don't even have my own agenda. So I'm just like, okay, true, even if it's like a negative thing for me. So I kind of thinking about like when y'all was saying this, how like I agree, but like I just think it's still toxic. Like,
Right.
On the other side,
Right.
for me,
Right.
like I need to learn how to do that in a healthy way, like not take things personally. It's like right now I'm doing better, like I really am, but I really feel like you get what I'm saying?
Right. I hear you. And that's a niche that the tools have to come over experience over time. How to not take it personal. So you're like, yeah, I don't make it personal because I already see where that person's coming from. I already see that they're going through some things, and I already know that I am just the person that they're exploding on, but I'm being exploded on. So how do I deal with being right? How do I remember how do I deal with being exploded on? And there are ways to look at that, what is the intrinsic or the need to be within the presence of the person that is exploding. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at what is your reason for being there. Is there a benefit to your being there for that person exploding? And if there's a benefit, then you have to look at those benefits in a way to maybe be able to redirect the energy of the explosion so that they get the benefit and you not get the heavy and the brunt of that. or it just might be where you need to take safe space. They say what they need to say. You take your space. It's not necessarily even tit for tat. It's like, okay, thank you for sharing. And just remove yourself. But even when you remove yourself, then begin to do something that nourishes you. Do something that's pleasing to yourself, for yourself. Breathe. You know what I'm saying? Have a treat. You survived that. This is what happened. That's okay. That's okay that they exploded, because I am okay to know that that wasn't personal. And it's like a debriefing that happens right after the incident. That begins to put you back on a higher vibration. And as you vibrate higher, as you move yourself higher, everything around you gets higher as well. May not be with the level of where you are, but it gets higher as well. And over time, it becomes noticeable that you remove yourself after that. And if that person values your space, values being with you, they begin to de-escalate in that space because they want you there. If they know that you're going to leave, and they want you there, they'll adjust. They may at first become worse. You know how things get worse before they get better. So when you start moving at first, it might be, oh, now you better than me. Oh, you think you're this. You'll get that. But when you sustain the self-preservation, when you sustain that movement, if they really value and want and need you there, they will adjust. They will adjust.
Few questions about this experience. Is it mainly one or two people that you're close with, or is it across the board, just people in general that you're close with, maybe not so close with? Which
Yeah.
which one was it?
I would say people in general.
People in general.
Even though I still in some cases know how to mask and when people, especially that I don't know, that I can protect myself or that I care. Even in instances I really have to pretend I care sometimes that somebody did something rude or hurt my feelings because it doesn't initially hit me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But with people closer in my life, that's definitely the case. I feel like I still know how to protect myself a little bit more with outside people, but even that,
Mhm.
even that.
Okay, so one thought would, because your person also mentioned that it's still looking to find its own lane, its own purpose, its own solid foundation to come back to. One perspective is that this is it. Is that maybe your person's superpower, its gift, is to be able to allow people the space to really vent. Whatever's going on in their world, they figure as though they can dump it on you. Then they feel better. But sometimes, your person may not. What to do with this energy now? So,
Yeah.
so if that's the case, if that resonates, then like Precious Funai was speaking about, maybe integrating, being more intentional about energetic clearing. Whether it be crystals, walk with them, carry them, spiritual bath, regular bath, because regular bath do it all the time. Shower, let the water run over you with intention. Florida water, carry a little spray with you. So there are these different tools. In fact, Precious Umnaya has as a shaman, she has a medicine bag. So she keep things that may be needed for other people to assist them with clearing their energy, and also things for her person in case she's out and about and some energies come up, people want to vent or come at her. She feels as though, okay, let's spray some stuff, let's send some prayers up, light an incense, whatever the case may be, to assist her with clearing her own energies. And therefore, in a sense, you're serving your purpose and allow them to be okay. Like she said, then you're okay too, because you clear that energy space. So
Mental notes. I'm taking them. I'm taking them. Yeah. And I really, when you said that, it really resonated with me. Just because of even what my name means. I think I even spoke to you about that. My name means sanctuary.
Mm.
So it's where people kind of a place that people come.
Right.
Refuge.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is to know that your parents named you that. If we are not aware of what we are naming our children, we already pronounce an energy on them. So it's like your parents set you up to be the person to go to for that type of healing. That they said my daughter's name means angel, and though she can have her moments, overall she's a very sweet, docile person. It's like anybody, she has her moments, but her day to day is a sweet, docile person. My son's name means blessed of God. And he walks in that vibration. I am entitled to. I have. This is I am. That's that. But these names have meaning. My name is precious, revered, loved, genuine, and it's also old fashioned. My first name means old fashioned, and I was like, why would you name me old fashioned? But if I am honest with myself, I am really that. It's like I value those old fashioned ways and beings. I'm like, I think a man should open the door. I think, I got a lot of that old fashioned. And that's who I am. It has always been who I am. I'm like 17 years old. If you don't come and open the door for me, I'm not even getting in the car to go to the movies with you. Just that's point blank, period. Old fashioned. That has been me. So our names really hold and carry a vibration. So for you to even acknowledge that, now you have to move and plan and prepare to be who you are and settle into that.
That's right. I always keep the sanctuary clean. I always maintain the sanctuary. Keep your pouch with you,
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Would you like to share, how do you make things personal?
Or not.
I guess because I see everything as a relationship between me and the creator. So,
Can you speak just a little louder, please?
so I see everything as a relationship with me and the creator. Every action, every word. So I always see it as the interplay of healing, on both ends. Sometimes I see it as a place of just listening or viewing. I don't know. Like I honestly try not to take anything personally, but I know everything is always happening to me on a level of character, of growth, and of like moment to moment. So sometimes I get like so involved in like depth all around me that it's hard for me to like experience the moment and like capture it because it's like I'm always moving.
Okay. No, I will say this. You spoke to always being in a spiritual place. For me, even that has been something that I have felt like, oh, this is personal, because I've had many situations where I've gone through traumatic things and I prayed and I couldn't understand. Why would God allow this to happen? Well, what's going on? Well, where are you now, God? It's like, man, when I started losing stuff and things was going crazy, I'm like, God, what are you doing? What is the agenda? What is the plan right here? Because this makes no sense to me. When my health was failing and I'm for being pronounced, you got just so much time before you leaving here, when I'm sitting in that space and I'm like, what on earth is happening here? What's taking place? And being surely upset with God. I have cussed God out. Literally cussed God out. and then on the phone with a friend that's like, oh man, I wanted to get off the phone with you because I didn't know what that vibe was going to do by me being a participant in this conversation, So now I got this person on the other end of the line that I'm talking to while cussing God out, feeling some kind of way. But at the same time, they're like, but I stayed on the phone with you because I knew you on the side of the road and I know you were experiencing some things and I needed to know that you were okay. So they remained on the phone with me, but I'm going through, Do we make it personal with God? And do we feel like it's okay to have that type of conversation with God?
I mean, I feel like we should, sometimes I feel like it's wrong, but God is us, God is living through us. And God wants us to be able to feel that, that vulnerability, that edge, to understand our nature and our power and who we actually are.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we need that.
It's like being raised
Okay.
in Kojic, Church of God in Christ. There were a couple of things that I thought about in the making it personal. One was to be angry and sin not, but the other thing was to shun the very appearance of evil. So that means we're not supposed to say or do anything that could be perceived as evil, But then that's allowing me to be in judgment of somebody else, Who is to determine what's good and what's evil? On whose agenda do I follow if I'm following those tenets of don't appear evil, and don't sin when I get angry, And it was like if you stay to the scriptures, God got mad and repented that He even made man. You know what I'm saying? And so if God got angry and was like, man, what I make man for? Who am I to say that man can't behave or do something that might not fit my agenda, that might not be in agreement to my agenda? But if I'm making it personal, then this agenda ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? If God's making it personal, then He wipes out everybody off earth in a flood and don't bring nobody back. What does it look like to be personal with God? What does that look like for you to really be personal with God?
I always think of the story in the room of the master. Paul was knocked off.
Mm-hmm.
Became Saul. I feel like you have to have a personal encounter with God. So I find on the positive side of like I don't think you could be authentic with God without having a personal relationship with He or she.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, who is determined as a He?
Mm-hmm.
God is in both divinities. Or however you say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's an energy, masculine and feminine energy, right?
So, I definitely, when people come to me and ask me about their situation or allow God to do this to them, I believe we should question God, because if we got personal with Him, that's a conversation that needs to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And we can question God in a respectful manner and expect to get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for me, when I'm telling other folks, I'm like, do you have a personal relationship? Does God really know you? Have you shared yourself with that entity?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It don't matter to everybody else. This is between you and the Creator.
Right.
I had to tell my ex-husband now, he was an email. So he had certain standards, like he was talking about your church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, that's not what the Creator told me.
Mm-hmm.
This is me and His personal. So let me answer to that on a personal level. You don't worry about, am I going so-called heaven or hell? Let me deal with that, because that's my personal situation. You can't stand for the Creator or create your own judgment day for me.
Right.
So, I truly believe we do. We definitely have to make it personal. And even those tenets you spoke about, each one of us can read it and get something different from it. So
Mhm.
that's why it has to be personal, because he
Mhm.
speaks to us
Mhm.
differently. Each parable,
Mhm.
any
Absolutely.
any form of knowledge we get, he give us our personal message.
Right. I agree. It's like even as a young child, I would read scriptures and I would get totally different things. And because I felt it so strongly, I shared what I felt so strongly. There would be every once in a while some great evangelist that would hear and understand what I was saying and would have different conversations with my parents to say, she really is hearing from God. You might not like how she's presenting it and how it's coming out, but she really is hearing from God. So I might not get that whipping that night because another prophet said, but any other time when that prophet is gone back to wherever they're from, the whippings resume because I continue to be who I was. It was like I don't know. I feel like you named me precious because you knew what I had to bring was precious, but you didn't necessarily want precious to really come out. You want it. It's like, I don't know. All my other siblings be like, why can't you just act like you're gonna at least do what was said? Because I would be, no, I don't agree with this, and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. And so I'm going to take my punishment now. Give it to me now, please, because I promise you I am going to do it. Would take the punishment, still do it, and get punished later. And then be like, didn't you punish me for this already? I'm going to get tried twice for the same crime.
Double jeopardy.
To which my mother would brilliantly say, "Now, one was the thought of the crime, so we tried to correct that thought. Then the other one was the actual action of the crime. And now that you've committed the crime that you thought about, it was premeditated. So now you got to get the additionals for your premeditated." I mean, Rose was timing up for me, but it did not change who I was at the end. I'm gonna come to you now, the personal relationship with God.
Mm. So, however, I would talk to my friends is exactly how I talk to her, whether it is with curse words or not, right?
Yeah.
I know that she knows my spirit.
Yeah.
And I don't take suffering personally. I don't look to God and say, why are you saying you're doing this to me? And I'm such a delightful person. Because I'm not from myself, right? And not be the favorite. I don't be the favorite. And so I take it with there's lessons. And sometimes I get humorous. When it's a lot of things happening back to back. I'm like, you know what, guys? He's so crazy. I'm not about to keep playing with you. But okay, right? I know that there's something that I'm supposed to be getting, and I just wait. I really struggle with patience most of my life, and I'm fully leaning into that season. And I think I'm being
Whenever you pray for patience, what you're praying for is try me more. Try me more, because the only way to get to patience is to get through more trials. And as you begin to overcome the trials, that's when the patience increases. So it's like, I need more patience. All right, here's more stuff. I think people forget that side. Whenever you pray for something, you got to get through what you're going through to get to what it is you're looking for. And so for a lot of people that ask for patience, that's the thing. That was me. Oh, when I was young, I would always pray for patience, always pray for patience, always pray for patience, because I need stuff instant. I'm still pretty much that person there. And I don't like things that's got to prolong, because I feel like, oh, this can happen right now. And since it can't happen right now, it should happen right now. I needed to manifest in this moment. Thank you. Praying for patience means it takes longer to get to what I want. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, God, where you at? What's going on? Why doesn't this happen like this? And then at other times, things just boom, just happen. You know, money fall out the sky. You know, when the money don't fall out the sky, then I'm sitting here looking sideways, like, well, it fell out the sky last week. Why isn't it here today? You know, other people looking at me like, oh, you're the great manifester. You're not manifesting now? And then I'm going back to God. Did you hear what they said? They saying you a punk. They saying you ain't doing your job because I ain't been manifesting what I was manifesting before. I need to understand, God. You got to make this happen. You know, that's the real face. The audacity of me, right? Cussing God out and then being mad that things don't manifest the way they're supposed to manifest. And I am accepting to whom much is given, much is required. That used to just be a saying. But when I look up, like yesterday, this homeless guy decides to come and sit next to me. And we're vibing and we're talking for a while. And, you know, I'm in this space and I'm like, oh, every time it's like the person that has whatever the biggest separation from society going on always gravitate to me. I'm in my year of white because I'm going through this process between me and spirit. And then he wants to be all over me. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. And I'm like, you ain't seen me before.
Or maybe.
You know, and so we're talking and having a conversation, and it feels like a familiar person.
See?
And so while we're talking, we're sharing, and then after a while, it was like, now he getting too touchy-feely, and I said, look, you're doing too much. I'm gonna need you to just slide your chair over a little bit. Now I need you to just move your chair away from me. And so we completed the conversation, and it was just quiet for a while. And then he reached out and said, look, now you've gone too far. We've addressed the issue, and I need you to move. Well, I'm not leaving. I'm supposed to be here with you. So I sat there, and then I was like, God, I think I gave him all the message I'm supposed to give him. I am now feeling like I am going to physically knock him out this chair. That might not be how you want me to show up for him. So if that's not how you want me to show up for him, please remove him. And so he then went, oh, really? And he got up and walked away.
Is that sharing out loud?
The guy, no, I did not. That
Okay.
was a quiet prayer in my head that I
Okay.
had with God.
Okay.
And then the guy turned around and said, oh, really? And he got up and left. And I was like, well, God, I don't know if I did exactly what you want and how you want, and I'm still in a growing phase. But for today, I am done with my test. Thank you. Thank you. And he left. But the guy sat for most of the evening next to me, all over me. And this is a homeless guy. And like I said, I'm in all white. And it's like, I try not to treat people any way less than I want to be treated, regardless of how they are presented. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% perfect with that all the time. There's some times where I have had to run from people because I didn't want to smell them because I have a very weak stomach, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw up on you, me, and anybody else coming by. I don't want that experience. But what I am learning to do, which is funny, is breathe through smells. And you would think that would exacerbate it because I'm breathing and I'm taking it in. But it's like now, like with this guy, when I just decided to breathe, it wasn't as pungent. It wasn't whatever. And so he shared what he needed to share for as long as, you know, I could share. It was like when I ran out of stuff to say, it was like, okay, this is done, you know. But the relationship with God and me not taking it personal, that these people come to me all the time. I could be in a drive-through and they'll go past every other car and come directly to me. I could be driving down the street. You know how the people are outside panhandling. They'll walk all the way past 30 cars and then get right to my car and it's like, you are supposed to give to me, you know? And it's like, and as I observe that time after time after time, it's like, I can't make this personal because I have to understand if I'm trying to show up as this God being, people are looking for God. How you gonna act, God? Here I am. How you going to act, God? When I'm in relationships, people are looking for God, even in relationships. How are you going to act, God? Are you going to be honest? Are you going to be forthright? You know, are you going to try to play this game for maybe there might have been something I thought I could benefit from? So I'm trying to get mine, but I ain't trying to get yours, you know. Or maybe I am such a needy person for love. It's like I feel like I've been on my own for so long. I've always felt like rejection. And people don't get me, and people don't understand me. And people always felt like, oh, I'm so strong because I've been able to survive and do stuff on my own since I was small. And it's like, but I want love too. I want somebody to take care of me too. I want somebody to look out for me too. It's like, it's not that I'm not capable of doing it, but sometimes I just want somebody to be like, can I do this for you? You know, can I just hold you? Can I just love on you? It's like, I want that. And so when I'm not getting that, but I'm always giving it out, you know, it becomes personal. Well, man, when is my turn? But to not make it personal and to see love in the spaces where there is love. My daughter loves me. That she will do whatever she can for my grandchildren. My children love me. You know, it may not have been the way I wanted it to, but as I stop and search and look at things, then I'm like, I get a lot of love. When you come in here and you smile and you like, oh, it's so good to see you. That is love. That is like a reward for me because I feel the love coming back. You know, when you guys walk in the door with great energy, that is love for me because I show up every Sunday with something to share, something to give. And so maybe I'm looking for it in ways that makes me miss what's already there. You know, when a butterfly come and land in my lap, while I was sitting in the thing, that's love. I open my eye and there's a fox at my foot. I am terrified of animals and bugs and stuff. And so to have the experience with it's just a fox at my foot. And instead of me running and screaming in fear, I decided to close my eyes and be like, thank you, God, for a peaceful energy between me and this fox. And then I open my eyes up and then there's a child at my foot, you know, that somebody's kid didn't walk up. And so when I'm having these moments, I'm beginning to realize here's the love right here. Where you can accept the love that is, it ain't personal no more that this person didn't buy me a Valentine's card. This person didn't bring me flowers. It ain't personal no more. And that's how I think love needs to show up. But to be okay with where love is. And if you start recognizing love, you see more love and then you become more love. And so you're sending out more love. And so when you send out more love, you elevate whatever you are. That's what you send out into the universe. And that's what you elevate. And that's what you bring back to you. So if you're not liking what you're getting, look at what you're sending. Because there's a correlation to it.
Jay.
How were you personal with God, Master?
You're so personal. We operate as one.
What does that look like?
It looks like always checking in, listening, asking questions, like the buddy. We walk together. So it was like we having conversations all the time, cursing and shit like that, because that's how we talk, we all the kind of all of it. It's like you walk, yeah, it's the analogy of walking with a best friend, BFF, we have these conversations. So my person looks to is cultivating that more and more with God, because God is inside, Mother, Father, God is inside. It's my person's higher self, and from a certain perspective. And it also goes back to assisting my person with not taking things personal, because last series we did was on the Hermetic principles, 7 Hermetic principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, rhythm, cause and effect, polarity, and gender. And so, a couple of those that really stand out, the law of correspondence and the law of cause and effect, those two allow my person to communicate with God, self, higher self, to not take things so personal, because it always goes back to, as God, as the manifestation of source energy, Mother, Father, God, we're here to experience itself. So every experience is experiencing with God or the devil, because don't want to go too broad, but it encapsulates my person's perspective on reality. When it comes back to the yin yang symbol, the white and the dark, with the white with the black dot, the black with the white dot. Some may say masculine and feminine. My person sees that, but it also sees good and evil, God and the devil, as in one circle. In the devil is God, and God is the devil. Same way we're made as within us, there's masculine and feminine. Within us, there's the God and the devil. So by choice, though, we tend to open up to, so we don't want to go too broad, but since we must speak on this, for my person, the devil isn't bad. It's the opposite of God. It's yin yang. And so in essence, more of this unity come together. We are one. That's God. Then there's this separation. Oh, the homeless man, it's time to go now. We've had our share. That's the devil. But we need this separation on our journey, because otherwise we'll go around touching hot stoves. We walk in front of moving cars. We wouldn't be alive too long if we didn't have this separation thing. Even for our own personal energies. Some people, because of our journey, we're going to spend so much time together. And so we have to be mindful of, hey, we enjoy talking together, we enjoy this, but we got stuff to do in our own journey now. That's an aspect of the devil, because we separate. We want to throw that out there. It's not anything bad, or, the devil is, or God is. It's just a way of identifying either you're operating in harmony, if you're operating and says, let's do this together, or you say, it's time to separate. And so with this conversation, what God looks like for my person is, on a daily basis, not taking things personal, is understanding that the God or the devil may show up for my person. And it's showing up for the benefit. If it's because the devil isn't always unpleasant, sometimes it's all in the perspective again. And so with this cause and effect on a daily basis, as my person reflects on why did we choose, or why did this experience happen, especially if it's unpleasant? So then open up to the cause and effect. Open up to the law of correspondence. Some may say the law of attraction. So what was it about my person's being that's attracted this experience? What is it that it has to look at to harmonize if it doesn't like this experience? Because ideally, every experience my person looks to enjoy. In fact, it says it's cultivating, moving from peace to joy, and that's it. Everything else it can be aware of, but it's not going to embody. Say, oh, there's anger, these other feelings. Oh, go back to cause and effect. It was unpleasant, angry, upset. Cause and effect. Well, why is this making my person feel this way? Let us relax and open up to that. Also, on the side note, by opening up, the answer is revealed. Whenever we open up to whatever it is, don't resist. Don't resist, allow, and open up to it. It will reveal more about itself. And with the smell that came up, what came to mind, the person says, she began to breathe deeply. So she stopped resisting. When she surrendered to it, she was at peace. And at peace, there's nothing uncomfortable, because you're in the peace of God that passes all understanding when you really surrender all. I surrender all. You're in this peace. So therefore, whatever's going on, you're at peace with it. So my person also used that in this cultivating of don't take things personal. If it comes, oh shit, this wasn't pleasant. Okay, well, let's open up to it because there's a lesson here to be learned. As I looked at this lesson, because the relationship is like, okay, what we're not seeing in the conscious mind is coming from the subconscious. As you open up to that, a lot of times, more time, every time, sometimes sooner than later, but every time the answer will come, oh, this is why you chose to experience this. This is why you did that. They have that understanding, like, oh, okay. So if we don't want to experience this, then we would begin to shift on the inside. So it shifts the experience. Because another perspective a person holds is that if someone who is a whatever may be a killer, a murderer, do someone who technically does so-called bad things to people, take things, rah, 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 rah. By resolving certain things on the inside, then we have a different relationship because of the law of attraction. Because they're not going to give my person, they're going to give that to my person if it's not within here that needs to be cultivated. So that's why it always comes back to my person is what do you when you have an unpleasant, look to ask what's going on to harmonize that, so that person can be the villain on someone else who is still in that class, who haven't passed that test yet. So then they would speak a certain way or do certain things to them to allow that person the opportunity to really look at themselves. Why I let this so and so get me off my name? Why they keep doing the same thing? Why? So instead of they always doing this, but why do I allow them to? Why do I feel this way about how they use their free will? And then in essence, that's when my person looks at, it's all divine beings, we're all God and devil, whatever. We have free will to manifest the God or the devil, good or bad, come together or separate. And so however someone chooses to operate in that space, again, not taking it personal because they have a right to express themselves. And as long as my person is cultivating, harmonizing itself, it will be at peace with the smell, with the stinking thinking, with whatever odor or vibration or low vibration that's coming, is open up to it and be at peace about it. So therefore, we're not moved vibration by it. So this is a result of the relationship with God, who is inside, who is also self. We are one, highest level know itself. Now, as my person speaks, God is here talking too. We listen at the same time. This is wild shit. He said, you're doing good. Explaining how we operate. We'll give thanks. So we feel as though it was a good time to say that's how we operate. Because he said you're doing good. She said you're doing good. So again, don't want to go too broad, even what kind of broad. We want to just bring it back in and say my personal relationship is understanding that the laws of energy, hermetic principles. And with every experience, just looking at the principle that governs the experience. And as a result of this, cultivating more and more that peace of God that passes all understanding, because my person understands what's happening. It is not taking it personal. If it does feel a certain way, it's like, okay, well, we have something to breathe more, vote more, so that we can allow this person to vent or whatever the case may be and understand why they're doing it. So moving forward, we can actually assist them, whether it be just holding space, allow them to do that, or maybe even saying something that says, throw a question out, whatever the case may be. But it will be based upon what God say do in that moment that determines how to respond, if to respond, or just simply be there and just allow them that space to just vent, to express themselves, to have their woo-saw moment. So that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. I was looking at my wrap-up notes. It says, you create your own story. You believe and know who you are. The secondary characters, anyone that's not you, can distort your story. So if you believe anything people say about you, if you believe any assumptions that we shouldn't make, then that becomes who you are because you accepted that story. But the moment you realize that you are responsible for your own creations and your own stories and whatever it is and how you emotionally or unemotionally attach to others, you're the result of those actions because that's what you accepted. That's what you put in your mind. So If you believe that this person don't like you, this person don't like you. You created that energy. You said it, you thought it, you made it so. But if you believe that in this moment, this person might be having a challenge that does not align to the energies that I want, we could circle back later, or we don't have to come back at all. Then you put yourself in a peaceful place. You create for yourself a moment of peace. So it's like, I can honestly say today, I don't have any issue with anyone. Where I have felt like I've had issues with people across the board, but I don't have issues with anyone today because I have decided to allow people to be and create and manifest how they are, who they are, the way they are. And that has no direct anything to do with me. If I don't like what I'm experiencing, I could remove myself from that experience, So I am not obligated to be in an abusive space. I am not obligated to be in abusive energy. However, I could recognize it and be like, okay, that's where you are. I'm not here to change you. I'm just going to move me and have a different experience. I'm going to remove me, cleanse off, and be at peace. And like I said, even with the guy, it's like I entertained for a while. I felt I did and answered all that I need to answer. And then at the point where that was done, and now you are now infringing in my space in a very, very not healthy manner, you can go. Thank you. It's been great. And since I'm not in a position to get up and leave because I'm here selling some things and working, you came and joined my space. So you may go. You're dismissed. Thank you. And to have him receive it and go was great. And it's like, I am honestly grateful that it went the way it went because I did not want to go to, and then I have to physically force you out of my space. I was capable, but did not want to go there.
Especially in white.
And because being in all white, it attracts people's eye. It attracts people attention. And there were like 100 women that came walking by yesterday in a crowd of people that were in all white. And all of them like made eye contact and gave a thumbs up to me sitting over. And I'm like, I don't know what you all's journey is, but I'm sure there's a reason that all of you are in all white walking in a parade right now, and so to see me on the side and where I was sit is like behind a tree in a cut, but it's all white. So even with a tree in the middle of me, that all white is going to be seen. And whatever people's assumptions are when they see me in all white, I am sure most think it's some spiritual journey. No one is going to look at somebody in all white head to toe every day and not think of something spiritual. And so what does that look like? How does people experience me? Because they may not be walking in these doors today, but perhaps tomorrow they may walk through these doors and like, oh, you come here and teach on Sundays, and oh, well, but I experienced you. Be ye also ready to present wherever you are. So I want to say thank you. Don't take it personal. Next Sunday, Shep and I will be away on a spiritual retreat. So we won't be here next Sunday. But the Sunday after that, we will be back in the house. And I'm going to take this time now, Master Shep, to have you do any announcements or anything that needs to be shared.
Yeah. So along those same lines of coming back in 2 strongs, i.e. 2 weeks, 2 strongs, we're looking at a little expansion, a little shift in or addition to the Soulful Sundays experience. You may experience a little bit today because the last 2 strongs, the last 2 Sundays, after service, there's an opportunity to actually not just to listen, but to play the crystal singing bowl. So that may be done today as well afterwards. However, once we come back, we may be looking at having more of a, that may be an option, and or spiritual cleansing, whereas once we shut down the live stream, the Wi-Fi. We just clear the space out a bit and, really get involved with the, more the incense, the bowls and music, and just to clear out our energy, to clear our space, so that this is being intentional. So the intention is not to, as you say, take away the good energy, but to take away the bad energy, quote unquote, good, bad. And then, like we're doing a detox. There's certain things that you can take for the detox that assist with the so-called bad bacteria and don't touch the good bacteria. So that is the intention of the spiritual cleansing, because as Marcus was saying, that really one perspective is, if it's after the service, we discuss the time and what the flow is like. If it's like once we wrap up, it could be like that. We're cleansing everything that was gathered today. So you're walking out there starting from a clean slate. We say, no, we're going to keep the integration of what's today, and just simply to anything that's preventing the fullness of the uploads of the experience, to remove that.
And so I'm going to add in right there with that too. Sometimes we come here because whatever situation we might have been dealing with at home or outside, it may be heavy. It might be something burdensome on us. And so what this cleansing does too, it kind of helps go to wherever you are. You set intentions to make things better for whatever space is that you're going into, to begin to change and heal and set a catalyst for your home environments, or whatever environment that you're going to, whatever you're seeking prayers for, whatever you're seeking assistance in, to have those things addressed. In that cleansing bath is that healing bath. It's that redirection of energy bath. It's like you set those intentions to shift and change those things that are not in harmony with your spirit, that you need to have shift and change. And that could look like I'm having these medical issues. That can look like I'm having these financial struggles. That can look like I'm having depressive thoughts, oppressive feelings, And so to be able to circumvent those energies, the healing bath will address those things so that you can move forward and take care of what is needed to be taken care of.
Right on, Nashe. And along those same lines, we are here on Moon Days as well. We have integration circles, potluck integration. So there is some discussions, but a lot of discussions may be, one-on-one, private. Is more of a networking in a sense with other like-minded, kindred souls, kindred spirits. We have break bread together. There's a time we eat together, have a light discussion. Every, sound therapy, sound collage goes on. So that's on Moon Days, Mondays from 7 to 9. On Wednesdays is Community Day. And from I think it's 4 to 9, 4 to 9 Community Day, where there's an opportunity to come volunteer, clean up the space. It's not as socializing as on Moon Days, but it's more so, what can we do to help support the space and, keep the temple, the sanctuary, and everything cleansed and up, because as a church, we all we got, we are it. So it's our responsibility to maintain the facilities and things like that. So that's on Wednesdays. Those are the 3 main days that are set. Other than that, there are plenty of ceremonies or events that just pop up. The next ones may be in person on the 29th and 30th, the full moon. So there is a full moon event that's taking place on Friday. There's a sweat lodge that will be taking place in the backyard next door. Because the way we're set up here, Temple of Mother Earth is the public church part, which is the building over here. The house next door, Casa Magica, that is more so the ceremonial and ritual, more private, because the sweat lodge, and there's the ayahuasca grandmother ceremony.
we deal with plant medicine, sacred plant medicine. It's plant teachers. There are various ceremonies that involve either ayahuasca, mushrooms, microdosing, combo, bufo, these different plants or frogs, different natural ways of tapping more into our own self. Some may say removing the veil to get more insight on our own journey, clarity on reality, or to just simply detox and purge from the toxins of everyday life and our organs. So there are a lot of different events that take place. If it resonates, you may, look at taking advantage of. And to find out more about them, Temple Mother Earth, TME, templemotherEarth.org is the actual website, the link tree, where you can find everything that's going on. There are also like some women events coming up even before the 29th. So I'm not pretty sure exactly what that is, but again, on the templemotherEarth.org, you will find that. And also we asked if you didn't sign in, to sign in the sign-in sheet out there.
I'm gonna grab that sign sheet.
Right. And I think that's all of the updates on Temple Mother Earth. Again, welcome and thanks for your experience. Look forward to seeing you again whenever you decide to flow through this portal, because the intention that we hold, Temple of Mother Earth is a temple of higher consciousness. We say that this is a 5D portal that we come to, because it's been around since 2020. We're just now finding out about it earlier this year, a few months ago. And so when we first came, it was like, hey, this energy here is good. It feels good. It feels good. And so my person just identified it as this 5D portal, bringing heaven to earth. So if you come here for these discussions, network, and get uploads, release some things, take on some things, it prepares us to walk more so in our 5D as we walk through, navigate this 3D journey. In other words, walking with God, bringing heaven to earth, whatever that looks like. And whatever that looks like also includes that my person's lineage portal is mainly the Kemetic tradition. So it doesn't matter, Muslim, Christian, Zen, Buddhist, a former religion or no religion at all. It doesn't matter what resonates, what your lane is, what your passion is, what your modality is. Ideally, the temple is a place for you to express it, become more of it, and or find out more about it through other individuals who may be on the same journey. So it's very inclusive, of all spiritual beings. In fact, on Friday, my person will be at some point having a class called The Art of Sovereign Living. And so what does it like being as a sovereign being walking this through earth? So that's the updates, templemotherEarth.org. Find out more information. Also choose to make a donation if you like. Free will love offering. And
For those in house, there's a donation space right there. We could just click online and do whatever you would like to do.
All right. And you guys are welcome to online. Again, feel free to come on through if you're in the area, if it resonates, get some in-house energy flowing and moving. And before we begin, I'll close out with the drum circle again, and I'll close in prayer. Just want to ask if anybody would like to share, about your experience here today, anything stands out, your name or anything you'd like to share about yourself before we close out.
Actually came here hoping that trying to bring my shape and yes, it's been a little difficult to touch base because she's very busy. But yeah, he wanted to come and share an event with you all here. He was speak on the topic of happiness as his theme for this particular visit. So I'm the spokesperson for DC. So I was coming here trying to touch base.
Good, thanks.
I didn't know this was going on often. So yeah, that was my main. Hopefully we will be able to come together. He is a super shape. Mentioned a lot of things that he special. He all that. So it's universal.
Yes.
Just feel like we're trying to unite other entities. So that's how hopefully we'll be able to do it before November. Many people going into November. So thank you all for what you have shared with me.
What's your name?
Take it back to him.
What's your name?
My name is I.C.U.
And if you're available on Moon Day, Monday, from 7 to 9, she usually comes on Monday. Her and King James usually come on Mondays for the potluck. So that's an option. And if you sign the list, we'll definitely let her know that the sister reached out and, wanted to speak about it for this thing. So
Only 18 minutes.
yeah, that'd be beautiful. So 7 to 9 is the event. She can get that.
What's your name?
Jasmine.
Oh,
There's another Jasmine. She just doing some. Hey, Jasmine.
and what's your takeaway for today, Jasmine?
I am a
Yes, you are. And confirmed.
So I trying to, I was talking about how opportunities fall in my life. And I feel spiritual enlightening journey. So I don't know. But we just got back from Cuba last week, and that was an experience. And ultimately, the work that I'm a therapist. So the work that I do, I'm leading with, I don't know anything where my clients and I am simply trying to get everybody in alignment. So trust yourself. Know what that feels like. Because we are God. We are God, and that's why I'm never alone. Right? That's why I'm always talking to. And why I just feel like don't take it personal, but is a message, right, that I have been in the works of receiving.
So share your name and what you get out of it today.
My name is Martha. I was gonna say, are her clients so lucky?
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
It's always like ever since I came here on semi-accident, like I told you all the first time I came, I've just been really ready to receive. Like Jasmine was saying, I feel like I was putting myself in that place where I was ready to receive, and then situations that I needed just like start to attract. So that's what it feels like coming here and listening. Even the points where I feel like I'm in resistance with whatever you all are saying, it's like something I always get to like reflect on when I get home, and like those are the points where I really feel like I'm learning when I'm hearing something you guys are saying or something that someone else is saying, and I'm resistant to it, and then I have to think about it later. So I feel like I'm challenged. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys challenge me, and even like the first time I came here, I told you like I didn't say anything because I was like still processing what was going on. But I feel like as I'm starting to do that more, hopefully I'll have to share. But I just want to thank you guys again because I really enjoyed the sermon today.
Well, the discussion, everybody chimes in. That's what it's all about. Everybody putting energy into the portal bank. So, and it gives it back, either here or later on in experiences, it comes back. And, your person is speaking more. So then, it's beautiful things to share. So it's perfect. Everything happens when they're supposed to happen, how they're supposed to happen. Just be open and accept everything.
And it's like the beauty of this place is you don't have to talk.
Nah.
Because your energy just being here, contributes to what's in here. Having people talk back in a discussion is great. That's desired, but it's not mandatory. And what I love from it is
because there are some people that have just been silent, but energetically, I feel them in one place when they come and totally different when they leave. And then afterwards, I hug people. And so when I'm hugging, oh, you did this for me, or this happened for me, or that great thing happened. And so they didn't share, but they still got a great experience that they shared on the way out the door. And so it's like, well, that's great, because I always want this to be a space, not just where we're presenting and preaching or whatever, but we're sharing, having a real communication and having a real conversation. And there's an equal exchange. You get something, I get something, because there have been some times when I've had to leave out of here and be like, whoa, I need to check myself. I need to line up in this rate myself, because none of us are infallible. So if we look at it as we're all learning and growing together,
That's right.
it makes for a beautiful community. That's the idea of this place, community.
Yeah, that is our common unity, remembering self and manifesting the fullness thereof.
All right. Looks like everyone did sign this, so we'll put it back outside. So
We also usually have a formal integration with wine as we commune together. Then we'll have the wine to integrate the experience of it all. And my person forgot to bring the libations today. So we definitely, look forward to having them two strongs, to seal it. So without that, we still would let's just do 3 breaths of invocation. And we'll wait till Precious come back so she can be involved in our invocation breaths. Yeah. Invocation breaths, as we substitute the breaths for the wine. And it's all fine. We use the breath to dine. We're just going to take 3 breaths. Begin by breathing all the air of our lungs. And taking a deep breath into the nose. Slight hold. Releasing out through the mouth. Slight pause. Deep breath into the nose. Slight hold. Slowly releasing out through the mouth. One more deep breath into the nose. Slight hold. Slowly releasing out through the mouth. As we settle into this place, we just give thanks again for this present time, present moment. Give thanks to all forms of our highest self to the experience. So infinite and Mother God. And partly through the reach of the Ephah, and the Master's angels, archangels, deities, and ever ancestors and spirit guides. We give thanks for your assistance on this journey of oneness, wholeness, remembering self. Until we call upon you such again in such a way, we bid you adieu. Right on, amen, and say.
Asheo.
Feel free to grab an instrument, grab a drum, and we just close out with a little sound vibration. Closing the spoken officially.
Right on. Till we meet again.
Mhm. All right.